Hey everyone, if you're like me, you love your Morphagene. Also, if you're like me, you have problems remembering the button combinations. And that was an issue for me for a while, until one day I made a spreadsheet of the buttons and their functions, and I noticed some things, and from that information, I derived some mnemonic devices that help me remember Morphagene button combos. So here it is. Let's start with the labeling on the front panel. The labeling on the front panel describes the top layer function of each button. It's what that button does when you press it by itself. Once you start pressing buttons in combination with each other, those functions change, sometimes a little, and in one case, a function changes a lot. Let's start there. The shift button. When you press shift by itself, it shifts to the next splice in the reel. When you press shift in combination with any other button, it becomes delete, which is very different from shift. But it makes sense. If delete was the top layer function, it would be that much easier to accidentally delete something by just pressing that button by itself. By making it a combo press, you have to be more intentional about deleting something. After that, there's splice, which I think of as index, and record, which I think of as audio. So let's start at the beginning of the Morphagene workflow, which is recording. And I would always get stuck here because I could not somehow ever seem to remember auto gain. And that was an issue until I realized that there are some similarities between a recording session workflow and the workflow of recording into the Morphagene. In particular, a recording session with a band. Early on in a band recording session, you set gains, and then after that point, at some point, you do basic tracking where you're creating a new musical foundation to work on. In a band session, probably rhythm section tracks. You're looking for a good take there. Once you have your good take, you do overdubs, and you might punch in on basic tracking to fix mistakes. Like if there's one bad bass note, you would punch it in and fix it. Well, in the case of the Morphagene, it follows that workflow kind of, or at least enough for me to remember it, and it follows it from right to left. So you start out, record and delete. You delete the current gain structure and replace it based off the input. This is auto gain. Then you move one to the left, and that is record into new splice. You're creating a new foundation like you're doing when you're recording basic tracks. And then all the way left is record into current splice. You're inserting information into your foundation the way you do when you punch in. So gain structure, foundation, insert new information, auto gain, record to new splice, record into current splice. After that, you've got splice, which creates new splice when you press it by itself, but then when you do a combination of index and audio, it takes you to reel mode, which is an index of audio files. So index audio to get into reel mode, you select a reel or a new reel, and then index audio to get out. Then we have delete. In reel mode, delete audio deletes an entire reel. Outside of reel mode, delete splice with a short press deletes the current splice. Delete splice with a long press deletes all the splices in a reel. Delete audio short press deletes the audio in the current splice. Delete audio long press clears the reel. It deletes everything. I'm going to put these mnemonic devices into the description of the video so you have it as a reference. Hopefully this helps you, and enjoy your Morphagene. Thanks for watching.